Okay, let's take a look at what I set up here. So these would be columns placed randomly here. They're not really in scale. And this would be a concrete deck right here that would go over top of, say, beams. The beams are actually probably go this direction inside the structure, and the car comes that way. But this will also double as the decking material, or my metal here. This will come pretty interesting, pretty close to the structure, and we'll have some cross members here. It's only one, and I got one at the top. This is just some metal that I was able to find and put together for you guys. So now I want you guys to think of just a deck collapse, or a typical deck collapse of a house. When it pulls away from the structure, it just falls down away from the structure, and the people on the deck, they go down too. Now, in this concrete system, we get puncture. It doesn't just fall away; it falls through and around the columns. But there are no columns, as far as I know, right at the wall where the first floor meets. There are no columns there. They tied into. Oh yeah, cool. Thanks. Time to feed my foxes. So anyway, let's see if I can get a video to get closer. So it ties in at the wall here. So as this collapsed and fell down, we know it fell down. We had that video. Considering the video is not fake, we have it no longer anchored here. So we have this falling away. I don't want this to fall yet, right? It's already falling. But we have this falling away and down. So I don't want to cut this metal, but imagine this is right here. This falls straight down without these outriggers, if you will. So let me just slide it under a little bit for purposes. And you would have to visualize that this is further down. This doesn't just scale-wise, this is down a lot more than that. Now, when it fell away, it was ledgered against this beam here. The part of the deck, I believe, is ledgered against here. I couldn't find any beams where the deck actually ran up to it. It ledgered it just like you would ledger a house deck, if you will. So when it ripped away, it probably tore part of this ledger, the beam that went across the garage area there, and when it did that, it rattled the building. All right, it rattled the building, and the building had to rebound, but it just didn't rebound. It just wobbled, and when it did that, it ultimately caused, I believe, this outer one to fail first. The loads in the beam transferred over here. I think it's a beam there. I have still yet to verify that, but we have the video, and it appears that, let me zoom out, that we have this beam further away collapsing first, and then sort of like on an angle like that, and then back over on the deck. We have the top floors collapsing down onto the lower floors, and then the next stage goes where where some of it goes this direction down into this way, and then it all stockpiles down in there. The building to the right then goes. But we have here, these will be your columns, your 16 by 16 C columns, I believe it is. So thank you for someone for trying to troll me on the C column thing. I do think you're an asshole. You win the asshole award. So and you're wrong about your C column definition. So they're 16 by 16s, and so what I need to verify again is how was it attached to the deck attached there? So it fell down. Doing so, it sheared away from its connection. It didn't just fall down, but it wasn't free floating. It wasn't a cantilever that was there when it punctured through here. It just fell down. It wasn't a cantilever. There wasn't a separation there. So doing so, it caused that reaction on this wall. Let's see if I can turn it this way again and get you that duplicate again. So we'll duplicate this again, and let's see if I can zoom in. I was trying to look at the video. It's far away. That's my sand. But I also want you to see this shaking. I want you to be able to see how it would shake. Okay, maybe that would do it. Let's see. So as it breaks free here and falls down, the structure does that. And that's what we see room 7, whatever, 711, 701, whatever room that is. You see the materials falling down, I believe. And the building's trying to come back to rest, but it's too much. The building, the reinforcement, all, it's too much for it. And it causes the buckling down here and the collapse on the top floor. The collapse on the top floor, the reason why it has to, I think it has to have a buckle here, in addition to the collapsing of the top floor, is that it all stockpiles in this direction. So if this were the buckle, then you would get that, like, you would get that stockpiling of the materials coming this direction. If it was not the buckle, you would just get a straight down failure. That, or you have 1, 2, 3 stronger columns compared to this one, and they are reinforced differently. The one that I claim that is the failure one, it does have different reinforcement over the other 3 to the left of it. Where everything, I think it's different than all of them. So just thought I'd give you this idea, help you understand it, so you get your ledger tearing off. You get your ledger tearing off of your beam. Your beam is your, right here, that's your beam. Now I'm not saying that these these columns sat on a beam yet, because I haven't verified it, but maybe if that's the garage area, of course you can't have beams going all the way through. So it would have been on a beam, and all you would need is one to fail here, buckle here, and that would take out everything else. I need to verify that, but even if I don't verify, even if it's not the part that is over the garage, if it's not the part that goes over the garage, it's still the same thing. You still get the same failure with this outer one buckling and all the material stockpiling in that direction. This one being the strongest, and then these two being about equal. So it's simply a deck ledger failure. The deck failing, and then the ledger failing, which is the beam being ripped apart, I know what I want to say. Its value, its structural value being lowered after the deck ripped from it. Meaning it might have been, it was able to take the load before, including the deck, until the deck ripped away and tore apart some of that beam. It structurally ruined some of that beam. Now that's verifiable once we get down, if they don't ruin it when they're doing the removal of the debris. If they don't ruin that whole front wall is what they need to look out for. Specifically under the collapsed area, they need to take it easy, get down there and get to that beam, that whole front wall beam, to the entire front wall, not just this one, to be able to inspect them all, to see which one, perhaps all of them, well, not all of them, but specifically the ones we care about that just started it, did it tear away. That would all be because they're being torn away because of deck failure. Now that video, someone sent me a right off. So the interactions still, let me back this up. So the interactions are still, it still stops it from racking. These beams tying into each other, and then the floor coming across, tying in around here. Now this is steel, of course, but the welding is minimum. But the same rebar has the same intent here, if you will, to help keep this locked in so it doesn't rack, and it acts as one. And so that's all I'm trying to help you understand. I hope that was somewhat helpful about the there's our collapse. I hope this is somewhat helpful. It's just a deck. You saw that the ledger board was ripped off, and then it affected the beam that the ledger board was connected to, and I believe that beam was connected to the column to the far right that caused it to fracture and eventually overload with the weight of the structure. That took quite some minutes, I don't know, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, before it finally failed under the load of the structure. All right, take care, guys. Bye. Oh, thumbs up, please, or thumbs down, and my haters got to give me my thumbs down. Everybody else, please give me a thumbs up and do the comments. The algorithm wants comments, so any comments, please, would help. Hello, bye, whatever you're going to say. Not some of that nasty stuff. A couple of people had some stuff, you guys didn't see it. It turned out I had to lick some balls and a couple other things from a couple of my haters. That was their comments. I thought I'd share that with you. So there's some nasty people out there. Okay, take care. Bye.